I have for Bill Kristol. I think he's a complete evil dweeb. Stupidity defined. Import people and neglect your own. Okay, that's what we're doing. Face it. They don't need more slaves or consumers. They need you and me dead. When I think back on all the crap I learned in college, you know, like that song by Paul Simon, when I think back on all the crap I learned in high school, well, I learned a lot of crap in college, I got to tell you. And, you know, my professors never did like, I always got A's, but I'll tell you what, you know what? I was one of those students in my classes that always had questions. You know what? Something doesn't smell right in what I'm being taught here. And I object, and I have to let all the other students in my class got to know where I was coming from in clearing this thing up. But, you know, that's one of the things I made very clear to the rest of the students that took my real estate economics class, is that I knew this thing about poverty is bull. It's made up. Nobody on the face of the earth needs to be poor. It's invented. It's by deliberation. Glass-Steagall, I mean, look up the Cloward and Piven strategy. Alex Jones knows all about this, so he knows that we're being intentionally made poor. He knows this is the agenda, is to just keep on making your cost of your standard of living shrivel into nothing. Okay, till you're dead, so you lose your will to live. Your life is so humdrum and miserable, so controlled by these elitist scum who are going to be way above us, living in their crystal palaces. That's their dream. Their utopia is one of complete management, having just a few people because they want to keep all the resources themselves, divvy up the gold themselves and the real estate and everything else, and just they don't care about human beings. They're evil. I'm telling you, that is the signature of evil. When you want to commit mass genocide on a level never before heard of. That's who these people are. Does legality ensure morality? No, it doesn't. And vice versa. Does morality ensure legality? You see, there's no rhyme or reason. A lot of the laws we have don't make sense. Okay, like David Knight's always talking about these drug laws that don't affect any. He's right. They're controlled. So even though when people, I stumble upon, that's true. You know, we don't need it, but we need, you know, just like we need poverty to make people poor, to oppress them, because it's good because it inspires innovation. This is the only line they've got. It's like these elitists grasping this climate change thing. That's all they got up their sleeve. It's out there. Yeah, we need less people because you guys are polluting the earth, even though they're polluting the earth 1,000 times more than anybody else. Okay. They don't care if CO2 is even a pollutant, which is highly debatable. Do you understand how these people operate? So it's the same thing. They can say, well, it's good, you know, that you're poor, but I want to be rich, you know. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but yet that's what's shoved down our throats. So the drug law is the same thing. No, well, it's a controlled substance. We need to control it. Not that really it's a moral issue. It's not morally wrong. It may not be a sin to do this drug that you want to do so badly, mostly because it's taboo. That's why most people do drugs. Look into the psychology of it. That's, you know, somebody says you can't have it, all of a sudden you want it 10 times more and you're determined to get it. It's the nature of the human beast. That's how we are. So that's why I say so many of the vices that we have are going to disappear. They're going to fall away, if you will, once we start fixing things. How who lives is decided not by lottery or rationing, but by the highest bidder. It'd be a lot more fair if that's how the system worked. If we just had a lottery, hey, all these people got to be homeless, well, then let's just run a lottery. Let's do it by rationing. Let's do it by first come, first serve. Anything would be more fair than the highest bidder. Okay, but that's the system we have. That's the crony capitalism. And we wonder why all these communists, these rabid communists are popping up. Bordering on fascist, violent fascist communists. It's not happening in a vacuum. This is what crony capitalism does to people. They don't know to blame. You've got to educate them. You can't. They blame capitalism blanketly, but they don't know that this is apples. This is apples and dog crap. You know, dog crap being the crony capitalism, apples being the good thing that you want. True capitalism, supply and demand, free market, where you see slow, steady progress, which means the evidence for that is your currency slowly, steadily, gradually, perpetually goes up in worth. That's the only way you can identify it. That is the evidence that there's progress being made, that the captives are being set free and will be set entirely free someday, born not beholden to anybody, not beholden to these money masters from birth. It's understood. You've got a whole new paradigm from birth. You were born with your share, okay, of wealth in this planet that God gave the planet. All of it belongs to you and me, all of us. And we can live together in peace and harmony and share this. And this system can work fine. We're all going to serve each other. Okay, let's try it. Let's at least take it as far as we can. And if people stop serving, the system stop breaking down, and we can't make enough machines to do the job people don't want to do, then we'll figure something out. Then we'll go back to oppression, okay? But take it, prove me wrong. That's what I'm saying here. Prove me wrong. And all you people that say all these poor people they're on drugs or alcohol, they're lazy, they got to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. You show me. Okay, like the show me state, Missouri. You prove it to me. Let's show me how it's done. Where you don't have any rich family friends. You're not a foster child out there. Okay? You're not a veteran that went off the deep end because of what he saw, what he was engaged in, told to do over there in one of these God-forsaken places in these dubious wars. Prove it to me that you can do it. But you don't judge that person that's at the very bottom that's going to die out there tonight. Oh, no, that's judging Jesus. You want to do that? You want to stand before God and do that? Not me. Not me, man. I want clean hands. Yeah, so we can defend money all we want. But remember, you're defending Satan. And you will give account someday. Not to me, not to any other human, not to any man, but to your owner, to God Almighty. How to create communist. Tolerate and defend crony capitalism. A boycott only works if everybody participates. So this idea that, you're going to put the evildoers out of business by just buying, from good people and stuff, spending your money. I mean, that can be good. But remember, if you're going to have a boycott, it only works if everybody participates. So how are you going to boycott essential human needs? That's what really needs to be boycotted is housing, period. To get the price down, okay, for that reason. Is that going to happen? Well, are all people going to volunteer to go die out on the streets? No. It's going to be tough. It's going to be painful for a while, like pulling off the bandage, like pulling teeth. But people got to understand in the long run, it's going to be for the good. Being elitist is hypocritical. Being elite, not necessarily so. That might just indicate you're rich. Just because something is legal doesn't make it moral. Just because something is moral doesn't make it legal. How cliche, you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. Understand, being rich doesn't equate to being evil. The elite are not all elitist, as in hypocritical. Being a pacifist is not the same as being a coward. Quite the contrary, if you read Smedley Butler's great writing, War is a Racket, the highly decorated Marine Corps general. He had something to say about that. He said the pacifists, the peaceful ones, are your fiercest fighters when the chips are down. Unnecessary miseries shoved down our throats. High housing costs are as good as a hole in the head. Desperately poor are not criminals. Otherwise, they'd be in jail costing the taxpayers $50K a year. Remember that. All you that look down on the downtrodden. Remember, if they were criminals, they'd be costing you over 50 grand a year. 1 year. True capitalism versus crony capitalism. Apples to road apples. Yeah, kitty, kitty. Sorry, I was just talking to the cat. He wants to be fed, but he can wait a few minutes. I'm letting him know that I know he's hungry. Pray without ceasing. That's from the Bible. It says that pray without ceasing. And I got a Palestinian friend that really knows the Quran. He said when they actually recite the Quran, they run the whole way through. So they adopt this kind of idea of praying without ceasing, like a song they're singing, putting forward. They call God Allah. I mean, a lot of people will just be, oh, that's not the same God. Look, I don't get into all that stuff. All I know is if somebody's good, decent, and right, and pure, okay, then God's going to accept them, okay? So I'm not the judge of anybody's religious beliefs, okay? All I know is that we should live our lives like that. One continual prayer is what our whole lives should be. We're needy creatures. We need to admit that. The body accounts for nothing. It's all about the invisible essence, the heart, the mind, the spirit, the soul. These things that live on for eternity. Those are the treasures we need to collect. Be on the same page as God, each other, friends. Okay, that's what God, those are the treasures we can have. The invaluable nature of conscience, although the world looks at it the other way, is stupid. There's conscience no value. It's not tangible, right? Ubiquitous evil, so thick you can cut it with a knife. Boycott dollar destruction. Demand a lowering cost of living as progress. Internet news is the intellectual's choice for information, education, and reality. In order to fix the problem, one must identify the problem first. How to wean ourselves off of Satan's teat, a.k.a. money. Crony capitalists and communists, two rotten peas in a pod. MSM, refining and progressing the art of deceit. Understanding the power of deceit. It is a fool's errand. Inducted into the hands of deception via the love of money. That's right. Very powerful force, the love of money. It could be in our own hearts very easily. Unidentified. Evildoers can only delay their inevitable destruction. They can't stop it. Through dubious warfare, persecution, and neglect, they